Everyone laughed, but now it's real. Starship is said to launch for only $2 million. It is no secret that Elon Musk is betting big on SpaceX's Starship project, and last month, he gave his first official presentation on the project since 2019, when he predicted it would reach orbit within 6 months. It has been more than 2 years since we last saw that moment. In a statement, Musk expressed confidence that the rocket will reach orbit this year. So, want to know more about it? Stay tuned until the end of this video. Designed as a fully reusable 50-meter tall spacecraft, capable of carrying 100 tons of cargo, Starship has been designed to be one of the largest spacecraft ever built. With a thrust more than twice that of Saturn V's rockets that took Americans to the moon, Starship and its 69-meter tall Super Heavy booster will be the largest and highest-powered rocket ever launched. The rocket will probably be among the most cost-effective, with Musk stating in 2019 that he hopes the rocket will cost $2 million to operate per flight. Musk developed Starship to take humans to Mars, but the moon is its most realistic goal beyond Earth's orbit. It appears that rocket launch costs are about to plummet. SpaceX's Starship rocket, designed to be reusable and capable of super heavy lift, is said to be the driving force behind this change. The idea of slashing launch costs is alluring, and would theoretically increase innovation within the space industry by lowering launch costs and providing commercial entities and research institutions with a more cost-effective way to deploy space technology. It remains skeptical, however, that this will be a viable solution to the high cost of sending astronauts into space. There was speculation that SpaceX would reduce prices due to cost savings from reusability, but no reductions applied. Could this be a reoccurring pattern? Why might the cost of a Starship launch be a contributing factor to its regular launches? The cost reductions to SpaceX would likely be substantial if the vehicle can be reused and no expensive flight hardware has to be discarded. According to Musk, SpaceX could launch for as low as $2 million, while analysts suggest that as many as $10 million might be more reasonable. Then, an orbital launch costing $10 million would come to about $100 per kilogram of 100 tons of payload were put into orbit. Currently, the cost of launching a Falcon 9 is about $3,400 per kilogram, according to SpaceX. Thus, the cost per kilogram of a Starship could be an order of magnitude or lower. Because of this, it is easy to see why some think Starship will revolutionize the game. Nevertheless, the key indicator we should focus on isn't necessarily cost if we want to greatly expand access to space. To reap the benefits of those cost reductions, satellite providers must be able to pass them on to their customers. Much skepticism lies here because it seems like SpaceX has a few incentives to pass along these savings, and that setting a precedent for doing so would be highly unlikely. What does it mean? SpaceX accomplished an impossible feat on December 15, 2015. For the first time, a rocket stage was successfully landed. SpaceX will soon be able to reuse its Falcon 9 first stages, which could slash the cost of launching into orbit. Gwen Shotwell, SpaceX president, spoke at the Satellite 2016 conference in Maryland about the reusability of the Falcon 9 first stage and the effects it may have on customers of the company. She cited, it could potentially reduce prices by 30% down to $40 million per launch at the time a Falcon 9 launch cost $61.2 million. As the leadership of SpaceX discussed openly here for the first time, this wasn't the first time reusability had been discussed. The Forum on Satellites in Singapore in 2013 was a similar discussion. According to Shotwell, Falcon 9 reusability could lower launch prices for customers to as low as $5 to $7 million USD. Having said that, it's now been 9 years since the 2013 mention of the $5 to $7 million price ranges and 6 years since the 2016 speculation of the $40 million price range. Regardless of the industry's expectations on reusability, SpaceX has surpassed them, flying its stage boosters over 10 times. So what does today's Falcon 9 launch cost? $67 million? It's increased by about $5.8 million since 2016. Taking inflation into account, the real price has generally remained the same over that period. How can that be? Is it true that SpaceX's cost benefit from reusability didn't materialize? In reality, This is just a case of SpaceX not passing the cost savings along to the consumer. Essentially, they have expanded their margins and made more money with each launch, which is completely understandable. With a launch cost of $61.2 million, the Falcon 9 was already the cheapest vehicle in its lift class when fully expendable in 2015. The number today stands at $67 million. In reality, you would need to pay twice as much for a ride on Atlas V rocket. You would need to pay twice as much for a ride on Atlas V. Despite this, all the vehicles were sold out before their retirement. With over 115 successful launches in a row since 2015, the Falcon 9 has most certainly become the most reliable rocket available today. With no competition to put pressure on SpaceX's prices, they have no reason to lower their prices. As far as for raising them, well, you can make the strong assertion that they are doing just that. And its mission is to get humanity to Mars at any cost, and it is an enormously expensive endeavor. Since they already offer the best product on the market, they don't have any motive to charitably pass costs to their customers. Then, just observe the frequency at which their rideshare program launches. Each year, SpaceX conducts several rideshare launches in which they transport small satellites on a single Falcon 9 and deploys them together in low Earth orbit. As a customer, you have to wait close to 2 years to get on one of those missions, so SpaceX should be able to perform twice as many rideshare missions as they currently do and reduce wait times by a great deal. Rather, they choose not to launch these rideshare missions since they are not high-value launches. Working with many customers to put 100 or more satellites in one rocket is a complex operation. Those customers are highly price-sensitive as well. The company, however, focuses on pricier services like crewed trips to the International Space Station, national security contracts, and deployment of commercial satellites, which SpaceX hopes will bring recurring revenue. Therefore, when we think about Starship, we should ask why SpaceX is motivated to dedicate multiple missions to small satellites, if it would have to assemble dozens or hundreds of CubeSats into one Starship. According to Musk, the company could launch 3 Starships per day, but it would take many years to reach that frequency. The early years of Starship will still be about starting SpaceX's deployment of Starlink, delivering high-value missions for NASA, maturing technology for putting humans on Mars, and developing the human landing system. Moreover, SpaceX's pricing is not going to be pressured to come close to the marginal cost of $10 million per launch, considering the competition, right? According to recent estimates, the cost of a launch by Starship's nearest competitor, NASA's SLS, would exceed $2 billion per launch if it could put 100,000 kilograms into low Earth orbit. Early on in its development, Starship is expected to cost between $150 million and $250 million per launch. The Starship will still be much more affordable than the Falcon Heavy and still carry much more mass than Leo, with the price per kilogram being only about 1.5 times that of the Falcon Heavy. Then, Leo costs somewhere between $1,500 and $2,500 per kilogram based on the price range. In other words, that rate would apply to a full Starship. But bear in mind that a ship used for ride-sharing small satellites would most likely be carrying less than its full 100 tons of payload, causing the price per kilogram to be higher. With $2,000 per kilogram in the middle, we're talking about a 42% drop in price versus Falcon 9's cost per kilogram of $3,400. Do you think this is possible in 2022? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Also, thank you for watching. And if you would like to receive updates on Elon Musk and his companies, make sure you click the subscribe and bell button.